Hello everybody, Texas De La Rosa here, and I am back with another YouTube video for you guys. And today we're going to talk to you about something that I think that every artist has to go through sometimes when you're a permanent makeup artist and you have clients that come in, especially nowadays when we are dealing with so many people that come in with already done brows. And we're specifically talking about brows today. We're not going to talk about other things, but I do have other videos coming out with my thoughts on touch-ups and what have you. So today, again, the topic is going to be touch-ups. And this is going to be a good video for not only artists, but it's going to be really good for the client as well, so that you can get an understanding of what it is that you are really getting when you're getting a touch-up. So again, I hope this is an informative video and something that you can look at and maybe even send your clients and say, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy can explain it a little bit better than I am. So again, my name is Texas De La Rosa. I'm a permanent makeup artist. I am the founder of Cosmetic Touch Professionals, a group on Facebook, and our goal is to help our industry get better. I also have recently joined the SVCP, and I am the chair for education on their board of directors. So it is my job again to make sure that we get proper information out to not only our clients but our industry, our community, as it were. So this video is really something that I think that is going to help, hopefully. So without further ado, we'll get into the nitty gritty. What it is to talk about permanent makeup. So whenever I should say me, whenever I first started in permanent makeup, there was not a lot of permanent makeup out there. There weren't people going and getting microblading and powder brow and all the things, and nano brow and micro shading and feather brow and 3D brow. And now you've got 6D, 5D, HD, feather stroke. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of names that are out there now with permanent makeup. And it all boils down to ink getting in the skin. That's what it is. It's a tattoo. You know, you've got, I did another video if you didn't watch on semi-permanent tattoos. Is there such a thing? So you can go back and refer to that video for that. I think there is not, because it is ink going in the skin, and we can never know when that ink is going to actually exit the skin or be broken down by the body. So again, I don't like to coin the phrase semi-permanent with any of my clients. I like to tell them, that I think that it's very important they make an informed decision for themselves if they're going to get a tattoo on their face. So again, there's no such thing in my world as a semi-permanent tattoo. I mean, I am very heavily tattooed, and I haven't seen any of them fade and wash away in a year, so, or things like that. Things that you'll hear some artists claiming so that they can, I think, get clients to be a little bit less scared about getting it on their face. So, but that again is another story. If you want to watch that video, go for it. But back to what I was saying, there wasn't that many artists out there as well, meaning so we had the craze of the permanent makeup world in the 80s and the 90s. And so, we had those old methods, and that's how I kind of learned. I learned from an older artist, and when I first got into the industry, and I was not taught some of the newer techniques that we do now that are, and obviously back then there were also we were limited, very limited on implements, meaning, machines, needles, pigments, inks, aftercare, numbing, that was a big deal. I never numbed anybody back in the day. And, numbing is now like, it's everywhere, so even for like body art, you can get numbing. So it's pretty interesting. So again, evolution has happened, and we've changed a lot in the industry, and it's gotten better. But what we are running into is a lot of people, especially as artists, we've had a huge influx over the years of educators and education. Try to say that twice. And what that means is that there has been a big, I hate to say it, but a cash grab from these people that want to teach, but they're not in it for the long haul. They want to teach after doing something for a week and then go and just regurgitate what they learned last week and with their new student. And what happens is and what we've seen in the industry is there's a lot of people that are getting misinformation, or they're getting taught by someone who, again, has only been doing this for maybe a year or a couple of months. And that doesn't help the new artist that's getting taught the modality, whatever it is, microblading or nano brow or what have you. it's making it really difficult because then it's kind of the blind leading the blind, as it were. And so, what I've found is that there's a lot of people now running around with bad work done, and it's not always necessarily, again, I think a lot of people want to point fingers and blame pigments and blame needles and blame this. A lot of it is the artist, and it's just that's what it boils down to. And and it is very easy to point the finger and say, that pigment line sucks or that needle line sucks, and all that stuff, and this machine is not right, and whatever. But a lot of it, I mean, I see on the groups and social media, I see really great artists using really inexpensive things. I'm like, well, they're good artists, you can tell, because they're getting some good brows out of those $80 machines. But and then you got students or new people using expensive high-dollar stuff, and they're getting bad results. So again, it all boils down to, I think, the education, and again, education, again, not only for the client but for the student and our industry. So again, I've been doing permanent makeup now for many, many years. I took my first classes when I was 25, around 25, I think. Could have been 24. And I'm 43 now. So I've been around I've been around for a long time. I've seen a lot of things change. And what I'm seeing, and let me go back actually. When I got into permanent makeup, I was in the world for a while. I've also been a makeup artist for, 20 some odd years. And then I had the evolution of getting into laser and then doing removals and becoming a removal specialist. And that's what I have been doing for the last 10 years in the med spa that I work in, Glow Laser and Beauty. And I started teaching laser last year because specifically for permanent makeup removal, because there's not many people that do that. There's a lot of removal technicians in laser. They do a lot of body work, but they don't specialize in the face. And so what I do is I help educate artists on what they can and cannot cover. So meaning, if you've already had your work done, say you were not my client, and you had your brows done, and again, specifically talking about brows this time, and you had your brows done 10 years ago, and now they're a green color or purple, or they faded to what we call a salmon color, that pink color, orange, whatever, and you want to get them taken care of. One of the biggest questions that I ask my client if you come in to see me is, again, when did you get them done? Okay. What method do you remember being done? Was it microblading? Was it a manual tool? Was it a machine? Do you remember a machine? You'd be surprised how many people don't even know what they did to their face. It's bizarre to me, because I'm a question asker. I like to ask questions when I'm getting work done. I like to know what inks are going into my skin, what needles they're using, what machines they're using. I know that it sounds crazy, but I find that most tattoo artists kind of they're like, whoa, does he know what is he? Why is he asking what needles are going into his skin? Because I want to know. I have the right to know what's going into my body. I'm paying you money for it, and I think it's really important. So I like to educate my clients and let them know what I'm using and why I'm using it and what outcome we're looking to get from this service. And so I think that it's really important to, again, tell your clients what you're using, because again, when they come into a facility for a quote unquote touch up or a top up or whatever you call it, or to get their brows redone, it helps the newer artist, the one that's taking on the new job, to help figure out what to do to rectify the situation if there's something that's gone wrong, or put you in the right place to maybe send you for someone for removal if they don't do removal themselves. And again, like I said, there's not a lot of people that do removal, especially with laser in my area. I'm in Texas, and I'm just south of Austin. And again, it's not something that I see. I have clients that fly in from all over the U.S. to come see me for removal. In many places like California, Florida, you have to be a doctor to even use a laser. And then a lot of places like, again, California, they will not even touch any type of tattoo on the face. So again, it's becoming a more and more of an issue for people that are getting bad work done to get removals done, and there's not a lot of people doing it. So what do people do? They then attempt to do a cover up, a correction, as it were. And that means that they're using a color to try to color correct. Let's go back to color theory. When we talk about color theory, we know that what gets rid of red would be green, right? Opposite on the color wheel. What gets rid of purple is going to be more of an orange color or a yellow color in that grouping, and so forth. So when we go back to those green brows that maybe were 10 years old, or blue brows or purple brows, a lot of the newer artists are coming out with, and I'm sorry, not artists, companies are coming out with modifiers, what they call a modifier. And modifiers started becoming a thing probably, I would say, about 10 years ago. I remember using a modifier in LI, the very one of the first pigment lines I started using for microblading. And it was told by my trainer to use ungray or gray vanish in every single client. Well, what we started noticing was those orange pigments that were used to modify or add warmth to something so that it wouldn't heal too cool were then what was left in the actual brow when the body broke down the color, meaning that the brown left and then they had orange. So you had a whole slew of orange brows running around back in circa 2000 and 14, 12, somewhere in there, 11, 10, somewhere in that range. So yeah, so that's a thing, but it's still happening. We still see people trying to cover up, or newer artists. I don't think they do this out of malice or to get your money. I think that they really are trying to help you get better work. Sorry, my puppy. Get better work because you're coming in as a client and they're trying to help you. They want you to have better brows. And so what they're doing is they're saying, oh, well, you had a green brow. Well, let's use a warm modifier and a warm pigment and we'll just tattoo over it and we'll be great. What they don't understand, and this is newer artists, because a lot of us veterans out there are trying to educate more of the newer artists on not to do this, is that there needs to be room in your skin for pigment to be there. Okay, so that means I'm going to use an example here. Okay, I've got my glass of water. Can you see this? Okay, got my glass of water here. Okay, if I fill this glass up to the top, we have a full glass of water, and let's say that that's your brow. That's how saturated your brow is from years old work. Or even if it's just a year old work and you don't like it and you want to change it, you want something, say, lighter, or you don't like the shape that was given to you and you want to change the shape. And that glass, remember, see how full it is full of water. And now you've got an artist trying to put more ink in your skin. Now they're trying to put more ink or more water into this already full glass. What is going to happen? It's going to overflow, right? My glass is going to overflow. Well, in the tattoo world, when you oversaturate something, meaning you've just packed in that color and you've done this 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 times. I was just reached out to by someone who had a potential client who had seven sessions of powder brow and microblading and over the years, and her brows were absolutely too dark to work over. And she was like, she came in for a touch up to my facility. And as a client, you think, oh, well, I'm just going to go get my touch up, because no one talks about this. No one says that one day you might need to get removal, because again, your glass is full. There's nothing left for you to do other than to remove some of that water or ink so that you can put something back in. So again, I like to educate and let people know that this is a thing. Removals are a thing. Now, this doesn't happen to everybody, because again, we all know now that there are also multiple types of pigments out there. There's inorganic and organic. Some fade more than others, some don't. But a lot of it also depends on the artist. The artist's heavy-handed. If they're using larger configurations of needles and really packing in the skin, the technique that's used. I mean, there's so many factors on why someone would walk in with very saturated brows and why the person walking in right behind them may not have that much of a saturated brow, So again, it all boils down to a lot of the artists too as well. So again, it's not just pigments, but that does play a factor in what's going on, but again, or the needles or the machine that's used on you. But again, a lot of it's the artist, and some of these artists don't even know what their machines do. They don't understand machine work yet. They're brand new. They're just using the machine that they got out of school, and they don't even know anything about it. The technology behind it, what's even driving it, what kind of motor is in your machine. These are all very important things, because again, this is like giving a kid a Ferrari or giving a kid a love bug. What are you going to, I would never give a kid a Ferrari, because again, they'd wreck it. They wouldn't know what they were doing when they were driving this, fabulous car. Sometimes you need to take courses even on learning these machines and learning your pigments and learning your inks even after you've taken a quote unquote fundamentals course. Because let's be real, lots of people out there are taking courses. And again, these educators that are trying to make money off of, having 14 students in a class and making, $14,000, $20,000 a day doing that. Well, yeah, they're making tons of money, but they're not giving you all the information. And then I've also said this many times that you can't learn everything in one class, meaning, 1 3-day course, 1 4-day course, 1 5-day course. You can't do it. It's just not feasible. I have years and years of knowledge and mess ups that I've done myself that I've had to learn from, and I talk about these mess ups because I think it's important and it's vital for our industry and for our clients to know that things can happen, So that's what I'm talking about today. How saturated are your brows? When you look in the mirror as a client and you see your brows, if they are so dark that you can't see your flesh at all, it's like a markers on there, you are not ready for a touch up. You are not ready for a top up or whatever you want to call it. If you want to go lighter, that's not going to happen without removal. Okay. You cannot put a lighter brown over a dark black or a dark brown. I've seen dark brows before and people try to put lighter colors over it. Guess who's done that? I tried to do that in my early years. I tried to do that on a client that came in with dark brows, and I said I could try my best. I tried to use I mixed, I think it was a medium brown and a blonde to try to lighten it up. And guess what? It turned into a mucky mess. And that client had to get laser. Okay. So I know what I'm talking about. I've already been there, done that. So I'm telling you as a client and as a student or possible artist out there that you've got to understand how to tell your client what can and cannot be done. Now, when you again look in the mirror and your brow is 80 to 90% faded and you've just got a whisper of color, well, we can probably work over that. Okay. What if there's a funky color to it, meaning it's a little pink or it's a little brown or it's got a little gray color to it? Sometimes if it's that faded, about 80% faded, we can still color correct and go over that and we're good to go. But there's one key factor. Do you like the shape that you are given? Okay. Because if you come in with two of these problems, meaning one, you don't like the color, and then two, you don't like the shape, we've got a problem. Because now that means that you might possibly need full removal on some areas. Because again, if you don't care for your shape, how on earth are we going to fix that? And except for making it bigger. And that doesn't always behoove the client. So as a client, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're not pleased with what you see with the work that was done on your face, then you need to get removal. And you need to find a specialist that removes permanent makeup, not just a tattoo removal technician. There is a difference. They understand the modality. They understand the basics. They understand the body, but they don't understand the face. And they absolutely don't understand the pigments that are used in the face because they are absolutely different. Same companies make these, world famous, Permablend, companies like that, but guess what? They are so different. And it is vital as a client that you seek someone that understands those pigments that are going into the face. So when you seek your removal specialist, after you've been told you cannot get a touch up because your brows are way too dark, the shape is not correct, and we need some removal, you need to do your research. If you can't find someone, my puppy's playing with her toys, sorry, if you heard that. If you can't find a specialist, reach out to me. Go to my website and hit me up, texasdelarosa.com. You can also go to my website and also find my school where I teach, Beauty Cosmetic Institute. The website is on that website is on my website, and then also the link, to my spa that I work at with my with laser. So Glow Laser and Beauty. So if you are looking for someone, I can try my best to help you. I will also say this. I'm an air flight away. If you need to come fly and see me, you can come see me via airplane, because I promise you, I've been running into problems finding laser removal specialists that remove permanent makeup. It's very difficult. I wish that there were more of us out there, because I know that this is becoming such a big ordeal for a lot of people. It's also not painless. There's pain involved, there's money involved, and there's time. So when you're getting a removal, you have to let your clients know. And as a client, you have to understand that Everything takes time. And the most important thing about the removal is going to be the integrity of your skin, meaning we do not want to damage your skin. We don't want your skin to become scarred or have issues later, because scar tissue does not tattoo the same. I have seen scar tissue from artists that have, sorry, well, we'll use artists that have gone too deep into skin and put pigment way too deep. I've seen scar tissue from that. And I've also seen scar tissue from removal technicians that have just lasered the crap out of someone's brows, thinking, let me turn this energy up and just remove it all. And it didn't work. It just scarred everything. And now we've got issues there too. So just know that there are things you need to understand before you go in and get removal. There's also a thing called saline removal, which is a non-laser removal method. And that is also needed sometimes when you get into your lighter colors, meaning your yellows and some of your lighter oranges or pinks. Laser is very difficult sometimes to remove those things. So again, that's why it's very important to go to a removal specialist that understands permanent makeup. Because if they suddenly get to that level of they've gotten rid of all of the dark, but now you've got a really crazy highlighter yellow brow or highlighter pink brow, and they can't remove it with laser, and they've done 7 sessions on you, I've heard this before, then you're wasting your money. You need to go to someone who does saline so they can actually remove that up and out, and they'll explain that to you there. I think that's probably about it. I just wanted to talk about that today because I thought it was super important. And I keep seeing people trying to do color corrections when that client is not ready for a color correction. It is a removal, or it is a let's get some pigment out. Let's lift that color out a little bit, lighten it as it were, and then go in. But again, only if the shape is good. So that means you have to like that as a client. You have to look at yourself and go, oh yeah, the shape is totally great. I just don't like the color. Okay, I hope this helps. If you have any questions about anything I've talked about in this video, please leave a message down below or a comment, and know that I'm here to help. That's what I do. So again, I can be reached by my website, texasdelarosa.com, or you can look at me on all of social media. Just find my name, Texas De La Rosa. I'm super easy to find. If you are an artist and you're watching this video and you want to get into my group, just go to Cosmetic Tattoo Professionals on Facebook and on our Instagram page and just join. It's that easy. Answer the questions and you will be a member. I also accept people that are in school as well. So if you're not yet an artist, but you are looking to learn or find an educator, that's also what I do. I also help educate as well and help people find an educator for them. I don't know why I can't say that today. Sorry, guys. But I can help you find an educator in your area. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down below. And again, I'm here to help. Bye, guys.